Hey everybody, and welcome. Today we're sitting here with Greg's Model Y. He has roped me into helping him install these mud flaps. The mud flaps are available from lots of places. Greg bought these mud flaps from Abstract Ocean. Now they didn't send me a free set. That would be cool, but they didn't. Greg bought these, and I'm helping him install them on his new Model Y that we just got paint protection film and ceramic on. So let's detail this. I'll show you what we've done to actually make this install happen. It is not difficult. I've already done the back right one just as a test, and I wanted to document it for you guys. So this is a mud flap. It's designed to fit right here. And the design, in my opinion, is not bad. It securely mounts on here. Anybody can do it, even your grandmother. The first step in getting the mud flaps installed, we need to remove these two pins here. They're plastic inserted pins. They hold actually the inside of the wheel well on, and it also holds it to the plastic under the car. So you take a handy dandy screwdriver, and there is a slot on either side of the pin. If you notice here, I put a little outward pressure and it pops the outer one here up, okay? And how it works, it's pretty cool. Once you stick it in the hole, you now depress this button, and then, I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but when you do, it puts the plunger down, and right in here you can see where it spreads this out and holds it in the hole. So we'll remove this one. We'll do the same procedure down here. Stick the screwdriver up underneath the little tab on top, a little click, and it comes right out. Now the next part of this will be a shot from underneath. There is a 10 millimeter bolt directly under here where my finger is. We are going to remove that, and remember, it's righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. But what's going to confuse you is this 10 millimeter bolt, it goes directly up. So normally you would screw down. This is now upside down. It's still lefty-loosey, but it's reversed. So I'll change some angles here. We'll remove it. Now this bolt is in a point, and you do not want to strip it. It is a machine thread, which means it is not a self-tapping thread. I'll go ahead and remove it using this wrench. It's 10 millimeters, so let's get to that. All right, we are now underneath. This is the remaining bolt that needs to be removed. Remember, clockwise in this is this way. Counterclockwise is that way. So righty-tighty, lefty-loosey, okay? So I will turn it left here, and in the process, we'll go ahead and unscrew this bolt. Now remember, don't be using power tools and stuff like this. This bolt is something you don't really want to strip out. Yeah, it's about 4, 5, 6, and it's loosening up more. Okay, now I think I can get it by hand here. And there we go. So if you look at it, it looks like it had just some dirt, maybe some even Loctite. It is a machine screw here. It's not a self-tapping screw. Okay, we'll set this one down here. So this is the Abstract Ocean mud flap, and it has some mounting holes where we've removed those pins. It has this little cutout here, and on this cutout is a little angled part of the plastic, and what that does is it clips on the inside of this trim piece here. So I start it at the bottom by pushing it against the trim piece and sliding the mud flap up until it's flush. Now, a little bit about the pins. The original pin that was in the mud flap is only this high versus the new one, which is nearly twice as high. there is a locking pin that will slide up inside of here and spread the outside, okay? So once I've got the mud flap up here and I position it so that the pins line up here, I go ahead and plug them into the holes that we were in, just as an alignment aid, okay? I find the hole here, if I can see it, right there. And now I just usually set those in as an alignment. Now the next step will be is I need to reinstall that 10 millimeter bolt. So let's get to that. All right, it's time to reinstall the 10 millimeter screw. What I usually try to do in putting any hardware back in is manually thread it in. The reason you do that, you don't want to cross thread the bolt, and certainly you don't want to strip it out. So I do not recommend that you use any kind of power tools here. The open-end wrench like I'm using is fine. You can feel if it's going to go in correctly. And there's a lot of threads, so it takes a little bit of time, but don't be in a hurry when you do this. I think if you take your time, it'll be better. Now, on a wrench like this, you don't grab way at the end because it provides too much leverage. I usually grab it in the middle, especially if I don't want to strip it out. If I can't hardly see it, it's a problem. And I'm just putting it back in, nice and easy, not trying to be in a hurry. There's only 2 of these to put on in this flap kit, and they are in the back of the car. So we just take our time. Again, I hold the wrench in the middle because that gives me a better feeling that when this bolt socks up and gets to its place where it's now tight, and we're getting close. Yeah, starting to get a little tighter, and I just pushing it close to the bolt. Again, I don't want to strip it out. I need to make it snug, but not overly tight. Okay, well there you have it. That is the bolt. It's back in through the flap. Okay, now to the next step. With the 10 millimeter bolt secured, I'm now going to put in the 2 locking pins here. You need to make sure that you put pressure. Let me see if I can use this tool and get my fat fingers out of the way. I want to put pressure where this pin is all the way in as far as it'll go. And then I push the lock in. This ensures that that pin is all the way sandwiched with all this materials, and we're tight. I'll do the same on this one. Here's my locking pin. I'm going to use the tool to provide pressure. Okay, and I push in the pin. All right, mud flap is on. I'm not sure what it's going to take to knock it off, but it's installed properly. All right, well, let's get on to the next mud flaps. This is the front left mud flap, and it'll go on to the car just like that. Now it has the same retainer mechanism here. This little piece of plastic hooks on the inside of this trim here. So let's go ahead and do that. But before we put the flap on, we need to remove the 2 locking pins. How do we do that? We grab the screwdriver and we pop the pin out here, and we pull the OEM pins out. There's one. I'll get the second one here. I can even see it. There it is. Okay, so here's the second pin. All right, we'll do the same procedure as we did before. We'll start the flap down below, and we're going to hook it right here on the edge of this flap. I start here, slide it right up the flap, or the trim here, until we line up with our pins. I take the long provided pins, and I cannot see in the hole, so I'm feeling around. There is one. Here is the second. It's pretty bad when I'm trying to do this blind. Okay, there's one, there's the other. Okay, the flap is installed. Next procedure, we take the locking pins, and I'm going to use this tool here again to hold pressure onto the flap, and we'll make sure that it's all the way pressed in before I insert the locking pin. Same with this one. A little sprue there, all right. And I'll make sure that I provide forward pressure with the tool. And I'm balancing my hand on the wheel here. And then I'm going to insert this guy just like that. All right, we are on. That went in pretty darn easy. All right, this is the front left. Now let's head over to the front right. All right, it's time to put the front right mud flap on. The mud flap will essentially go just about like that. All right, so first step, we take our handy dandy screwdriver and remove these plugs. A little head on it, you pop it out, and the plug comes out. And do another one here, and that plug comes out. All right, I think we're good. Again, the little clip here on this one is this extruded plastic right here. It hooks right up under this trim piece. So I start the mud flap down low. I hook it so that it rides right up the trim piece here, right into position. I take the longer supplied pins. I'm trying to do this without my fat head in the camera. I can kind of guesstimate where that hole is, about like right there. I can stick this in through this hole right here. Well, maybe. It's pretty bad when the camera comes first. I can't stick my fat head in here, so let me stick my fat head in here. I gotta line it up on the hole there. Oh, come on, Dave. There we go. Okay. And then I'll take the second supplied pin, which is right here. And the back hole should be more or less lined up, and it is. Okay, we've got our locking pin. I'm going to use this tool and a little effort against the tire with my hand and push in. It's hard to see there. Push in on this pin and then insert the locking pin, okay? Again, we have the locking pin here. I'm going to use my hand as lever against the wheel. This will supply some downward pressure to make sure that pin is seated. And this one is always the hard one. If I get another tool here, if it happens you don't have enough hands, use this wrench, push in on this pin. See if I can use this tool, do it all at one time. There we go. Okay, mud flap is on. That didn't take very long now, did it? Let's have a look at the mud flaps of how they look here. We've got the mud flap in the front, around the side here. That looks pretty good. I don't think it's hanging down too much to cause trouble. We'll measure that. Let's take a look at the back left now. Okay, the back left mud flap. We'll go ahead and see it from its side here. and then see what the clearance is. All right, so let's go back, look at the back left one now. It's a mirror image of the one we just looked at. You can kind of see the depth, clearance. Looks pretty good. Let's go ahead and look at the front left now. Okay, and here's the front left. You can kind of see the side profile, what it looks like. Matches the trim very well. I think it looked pretty darn good to me. All right, this is the front of the Model Y here. As you can see, it is the lowest part right here at the wheel well. If I take my scale and I measure it, I have right at 6 inches of clearance, if I can get it to be visible. There we are, 6 inches of clearance. All right, so now let's have a look at the mud flap. As I crawl along the floor. All right, so this is the mud flap. Let's check the clearance of the mud flap. Bottom of the mud flap puts it down at 4.5 inches. So that is the front mud flap. So let's check the back now. All right, this is the rear mud flap. Let's check the clearance. It is 6 3/8 inches off the ground. So the back mud flap's higher than the front. Well, Greg, we have worked on your car. We've got that full PPF, ceramic, now mud flaps. What's your next upgrade for the car?
I get to drive it.
Yeah, quit messing with it and just drive it, right?
Let's quit messing. Well, of course, we got almost half a foot of snow out there and sleet coming down today, so it's a great day to be sitting in the garage doing this kind of stuff. But, you know, as Dave showed you, the installation is super easy. You take your time. The parts all fit properly. The worst part of it is getting those machine screws out of the back so you can put the back mud flaps on. But again, if you take your time, work slowly and carefully, they come out perfectly. So the rest of it is easy. It's just popping out the OEM fixings, making sure the mud flaps line up properly, and sticking the new fixings in. And that's job done. It didn't take us long. It looks perfect. Actually, it looks real good on the car. It doesn't show as a bunch of old tire truck mud flaps hanging around down there. It looks fine. They're molded properly. They fit the molding on the car, and it just looks like it belongs there. So hopefully, with the dust and stones and dirt that get kicked up along the roads here in North and South Carolina, it protects the side of the car a bit, which is the whole objective.
Well, just tell me one thing. Did you hope down deep that your mud flaps would have a naked lady on them?
Well, they do supply that decal, and I'll put them on when I pull out. But, you know, it's a bit much for Dave. I don't know if he can take that stuff.
Well, I don't know. You know, the truckers have those all the time.
I know.
I figured you were hoping they'd have that on these mud flaps.
Well, we're going to a truck stop on the way home and I'll see what I can find.
There you go. Hey, Greg, thanks for letting us use your car as a guinea pig, and I'm glad you got it the way you wanted it. So let us know if you're going to do anything else to the Model Y. You know, you've just decked that car out now, so we'll see how it goes.
Well, actually, I think I'm pretty much finished. I put, initially I put weather mats in the car. I had those before I picked the car up, so I put those in right away. That I think is a necessary addition. The other thing I did was, because my seats are white, I got some product that will protect the seats as a ceramic coating. And that was fantastic. I put that on. There were 2 or 3 applications in the bottle, so I just used the whole bottle, put it on, and that protects the seats. It doesn't change the look of the seats. It doesn't change the feel of the seats. It's a great product, and I think Dave can probably put that in the notes on this video. But I would encourage anybody who gets a white interior to treat the interior. It'll keep it looking pristine. And with the paint protection film and the ceramic wrap and the mud flaps, there's not much more to do. I think I'm good to go.
The only thing I can think you can do is get in it and drive it. So let's take it on a road trip. What do you think?
Sounds like a plan to me.
Yeah, we'll get to that. Greg, thanks again, and I'll look for you in the next videos, okay?
Thanks, Dave.
All right, thanks again. And just a reminder to everybody, if you would, please go ahead and subscribe and share the videos with your friends. Thanks for watching. I'll look for you in the next videos, and take care. Thanks, Greg.
Thanks, Dave.